Alright, today I want to make a video on my top 5 smallmouth baits. A lot of us in the north right now are snowed in and iced up, and I just want to make this video for you guys that are already preparing for the upcoming season, which will be here before you know it. I throw more than just these top 5 baits, obviously, but these are my favorites, so let's get into it. Alright, bait number 1 is a drop shot. Absolutely love a drop shot. Fish it all year round. Probably catch 80 to 90% of my smallmouth on it. Really versatile bait. You can fish it deep, fish it shallow. Just smallmouth, absolutely love it. I like a 3.5-inch Berkeley flatworm for my drop shot, a size number 1 hook, and then I stick with a 1/4 ounce almost exclusively as long as I can. So that's my setup. Really love drop shotting, and that is why it's number 1 on my list. All right, bait number 2 is a Ned Rig. I really like a Ned Rig. I use the Ned Rig a lot as a follow-up bait when those fish will not eat the drop shot. So let's say I'm seeing fish on live scope and they won't eat the drop shot, or I'm up shallow sight fishing and they won't eat the drop shot. I'll throw the Ned Rig to them, and 9 times out of 10, they will eat the Ned Rig when they won't eat the drop shot. Just kind of a more finesse option for them. My favorite bait for the Ned Rig is the TRD ticklers. Just really like the action on those tails there. Feel like that just gets more fish to bite than just a standard TRD. And I use a 1/5 ounce head almost all the time. All right, bait number 3 is topwater. Absolutely love throwing topwater. Where I live, it's pretty windy, so you don't get to throw it that much, but when you can, it's just so much fun seeing those smallmouth come up and explode on these baits. I like a walking bait to cover water, and I like a popper fishing isolated cover. Just a really fun way to fish. Love getting blowups on topwaters, and I feel like you catch a lot of big smallmouth on topwater. All right, bait number 4 are paddletail swim baits. Really like these baits for covering water, especially in the pre-spawn in the fall. Really good baits to cover water and catch a lot of smallmouth with. I like to start out with the 3 3/4 inch, but if I'm getting short strikes, so they're just not really eating this one well, I will switch to the 3 1/4. For example, last spring, for whatever reason, they just would not commit to the 3 3/4, so I threw the 3 1/4 almost exclusively. You really just got to feel it out, just kind of gauge by the mood on what size you want to throw, but I always start out with the bigger bait, and then if they're not eating it well, I'll switch to the 3 1/4. All right, and then jig head sizes for these swim baits. I like a 1/4 ounce for the 3 1/4 inch swim bait and a 3/8 for the 3 3/4 inch swim bait. Obviously, those will change if I'm, fishing a little bit deeper, a little bit shallower, but that's my starting point for the jig head sizes. All right, and the last bait we'll talk about is the tube. I like a 3.5-inch tube almost exclusively, and then jig head size, I go from a 1/4 all the way up to a 1/2, just depending on how deep I'm fishing. This is another great bait that smallmouth will eat when it seems like they won't eat anything else. Really like it up shallow when I'm sight fishing. You throw a drop shot to them, they won't eat. You'll throw a Ned Rig to them, they won't eat. You'll throw a tube at them, and they'll just come unglued on it. So it's another one of those baits that smallmouth will just come unglued on when they won't eat anything else. It's also a really good bait to throw when those fish are tight to the bottom, feeding on gobies and crawfish. All right, those are my top 5 smallmouth baits. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments what other videos you'd like me to make, and I will see you on the next one.